It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. Today I want to talk to you about how I was able to secure a real estate contract without me personally being a real estate agent. You don't need to be a real estate agent in order to win in real estate. In this video, I'm breaking down how exactly I secured a real estate contract without being a licensed agent. Whether you are an investor or an entrepreneur, just curious about creative ways to get into real estate or creative ways to get into real estate as a government contractor, I am teaching you exactly what I did step by step. So I'll walk you through the strategies and give you the steps you can take in order to land a similar contract. So this is all about how you can position yourself into the real estate government contracting game and the understanding of the power of government contracts. So let's get started. So for those who are new here, welcome to the Sheenapreneur channel, where I talk about government contracting. We talk about business scaling. We talk about different types of businesses to include everything that's inside and outside of government contracting. So welcome. And for those who are returning, I'm trying to add a little more razzle dazzle to some of these videos that I'm doing. So honing in on specific industries. Y'all love that. Y'all love the previous video that I did about laundry contract, that I had 3 laundry contracts without having a laundromat. Y'all ate that up. So this is kind of like another one. I said, oh yeah, I did real estate before. I did a real estate contract. And it's very, very interesting how I got this contract and what ended up happening with it. So I wanted to go ahead and share. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. If you are brand new, make sure you like this video. It really, really helps the algorithm to keep your girl able to deliver this information to you guys. Okay, so boom, there I was, right? There's always a there I was intro to everything that I talk about. But pretty much when I was really, really going in on government contracting, I was still in real estate. So for those who do not know my story, I was in real estate for multiple years. There was some overlap when it came to government contracting as well. I actually was going to be like a real estate and facilities company. Actually, that was in a lot of my intros of my description of how I explained what my company did. We wanted to do real estate type contracts. We wanted to do property management. I was in appraisal school. I actually am thinking about going back because there really needs to be a lot more appraisers. So there's a side note. There really needs to be a lot more appraisers out here in the free world. All the appraisers pretty much who were in the industry way back when I got started back in like 2013, 2014. They were older and there was no one taking their place. It's really appraisal. To be an appraiser is a very, very challenging process. And I won't get into that. Maybe if I'm going through the school, I decide to go back, then I'll do a video about that later on. But anyway, y'all didn't come here for that. So really, with real estate, I was just looking at some things that I thought maybe I could, explore. So even me as a real estate investor, and I was a wholesaler, I never got my license. And one of my good friends who helped me pretty much buy and sell almost all of my properties, I asked her, like, should I be a real estate agent? And she was like, that's not for you. And so I was like, say less. So I ended up not doing that because after she explained some of the, well, first of all, I knew everything that she was dealing with. And then I thought maybe that just wasn't something that I was looking forward to executing. And I had other things that I wanted to do. But I did love real estate. And like I said, I was an investor already. So I would look for real estate contracts that seemed like something I could get someone to do, whether it was my friend or she was more on the residential side. And then I had several commercial real estate agents and brokers. So I found a real estate broker contract actually on the commercial side. So I met a gentleman that was at another program that I participated in. He was a veteran. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I'm just saying. He was a veteran, so it was like, okay, cool. He probably, understands what, how I communicate and what needs to happen. And so we ended up putting together a real estate contract. And, I share my wins and my failures with y'all because I want people to understand that these things are possible, but then you also have to think about the flip side of it because it's really, really important for you to understand that when things don't go right, that you're not a failure. It's next. That's how I look at almost everything. So with this real estate contract, I put it together under my company and I used his license as him being a sub essentially. Basically it was a county contract, city contract. It was a city contract, and this city, it was in Georgia, but it was several hours away. This makes a difference in the story, right? So they needed a multi-use building marketing essentially. So they needed a broker to come in and help them sell this property, but also to kind of promote it based on mixed use. So what mixed use is like some of it, a portion of the building might be residential, the portion of it is a commercial, but then also the commercial is kind of segmented into whether it's like they have like a shared workspace at the bottom of the building, or they have a Starbucks or some mixture of those, where they wanted developers to be excited about coming in and purchasing this property and turning it into something great. And it was right in the downtown of that particular city. I won't say the city, but basically, they were just looking for someone who could have a unique marketing plan on how they needed to market this property and then go ahead and sell it. So what I didn't know, I knew a little bit about real estate commissions, but not that much. So I knew that usually it's like 3 to 5% or whatever. Maybe that's changed in years, but this is a long time ago. So maybe that has changed. But I guess for this type of property, it was like 10%. And then also what I didn't know is that real estate agents, if you're doing some sort of, and I'm not going to know the right words right now, but if you're doing some sort of, you're bringing the deal essentially, not like wholesaling, but you're bringing a deal. I think what it was explained to me is that real estate agents would do this for one another. Like if an agent brings something to you, then you give them a percentage of whatever you make. So out of that 10% that he was going to get, I was going to get like, I think he said 25%. It was, to me, I was like, hell yeah. Cause it was like a $2 million deal, $2 or $3 million, something like it was up there. And at that time I hadn't won anything that big. So I was like 25%, that is amazing. I don't have to do anything except for do this paperwork. So boom, we won. It was crazy. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm lit, and this is, again, I had won like my first few contracts, and this was pre-COVID. So this is when I was just winning. And won this contract, I'm like, okay, it's go time. So the guy that I was working with, he knew exactly what to do. They told us to come pick up the keys. Like it was a very, very exciting moment. But then, dun dun dun. We got a call. We even did a kickoff meeting. We even did a Zoom kickoff meeting. I don't even think it was on Zoom back then because I don't even think Zoom was really big. But it was, we had a kickoff meeting they asked a lot of questions. He did amazing on the call. I'm sitting there like I have no idea. I understand real estate, but I didn't understand like that buying and selling process when it comes to what an agent or a broker has to do. So he did excellent on that call. And then we got, a notification that, okay, we have to pause this whole contract. And so I'm like, pause for what? Because I want my 25%, right? And basically what had happened is the city failed to run this through their legal process. Basically the city was supposed to ensure that this contract was reviewed by their attorney. So the problem was he was a broker, but I wasn't. So they can't award, in this case, I don't know if this, and I've seen some other real estate contracts, but I'm not for certain if this is the case every time, but this particular city could not award a real estate broker contract to a non-real estate broker owned company. So what I should have done was do the contract for him, put him as his company is doing it and take a fee or something like that. I know, of course, lessons learned in this part. So basically I messed it up. We couldn't execute on that contract and I was sick. But again, it was a lesson and I didn't know, they didn't know because we had been awarded. We did a kickoff meeting. They said, come get the keys, and somebody reviewed it and was like, no, it'd have to be him, but then it was put out for bid, so they can't really just say, okay, well, never mind, Sheena, you out the way, we'll put this other person as the awardee. They couldn't do that. So I don't know what they ended up doing. I think that property is still sitting to this day because I think I reviewed it maybe like last year, the year before, and this was like pre-COVID, so it is what it is. But lessons, right? So boom, my main objective is to tell you how you can get a real estate contract and how you can avoid the mistakes that I made. So obviously, like basically the number one thing is, the question would be, do you need a real estate license or a real estate brokerage or even to be a real estate appraiser? Now, mind you, I have seen contracts for every one of those disciplines: broker, agent, appraisal. I actually saw an appraisal contract. See, I keep going back to appraisal. It's my destiny. I saw one that they wanted, it was some honky-tonk town in Georgia, like a nearly abandoned town. I guess that they wanted more, they wanted to stimulate that economy, and they wanted someone to appraise the entire county. And I didn't have a real estate appraiser friend at that time. That was before I went to real estate appraisal school. That's probably what prompted me to want to go to real estate appraisal school, is because of that contract, but I didn't have anyone that was willing to do something of that scale. But anyway, so that was one of the, the things that kind of like make you go into other stuff, because you're thinking that I want to do this one thing, but then you end up doing something totally different, or not totally different, but like off to the side that you didn't think you was going to do. So you don't need a real estate license. license. You don't need a real estate broker. You don't need to be a real estate appraiser. You just got to find the people that do this. And I always talk about this. It's similar to subcontracting, but remember my story. You cannot, as far as I know, I'll never do this again where I put my company as the prime contractor and then get a real estate agent or a real estate broker under me, because to me, I think it's probably going to end up being an issue. So from now on, I've pivoted to, if I'm going to be doing a real estate contract that requires a broker, agent, appraiser, whatever, they're going to be the prime and I am going to be the sub. Now, that can be tricky because what if it's just straight up real estate agent contract? Like there's no room for foresight to be interjected in there as like a final cleanup or, anything property preservation related. It's just straight up buying and selling. Then you got to figure out a creative way to get yourself into that contract. Going back to the story where the commercial broker that I was going to use, he was going to give me like a referral fee of a large percent of whatever he sold, which was one property. But thinking about, sometimes they want someone we're actually working on one right now for an area where there's going to be a lot of property sold. So bought and sold. So when it comes to that, you need to have some sort of agreement with that particular company or multiple companies in order to get a percentage from everything. That's a significant way, to get into real estate without having, the brokerage or the license. It just makes a big difference when you know how to position yourself, just like I said earlier. So my role versus the real estate agent, real estate broker. Now, the reason why, Sheena, why wouldn't an agent or a broker or an appraiser just do it themselves? Just think about if you have been doing contracting since you've been watching my videos, okay? How many people have you talked to about government contracting and they were like deer in the headlights? Or they were like, I don't want to do that. I don't have time to do that. That's too much paperwork, too much red tape. Oh, I heard from this video. Oh, I heard from the news. Oh, I heard from here that contracts are dead or something like that. Like there's a lot of misunderstanding out here, and there's a lot of people who are just not willing to do what you do. So I took my role, and this is what pretty much most of the things that we offer from our company is they don't want to do the paperwork. Paperwork is my superpower. That's how I got started. That's what I do now. So if I'm working with a real estate agent or a broker, usually they going. They don't even have time to learn how to do government contracting. So here I come and I am delivering the missing piece to your life. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at everything. Like I am your missing piece. Like you need me and I need you. I definitely need you because I don't have a brokerage. I don't have a real estate license, but you need me because you don't know how to do these government contracts. So how much you gonna pay me? And that's fine. It doesn't need to be up front. Now I do this not all the time. I only do this with the things and people that I trust. If it's something that I don't have the warm and fuzzy about, I'm not going to do. There's too many contracts out here. By the way, there are a lot of contracts still being issued out, so please don't let anyone deter you from doing government contracting. And I'm going to be doing a few more videos about that because it's really important for people not to just think, oh, well, I heard, Have you seen that their contracts are being completely canceled? Every contract, like you go to the website and the website is down saying no contracts are being issued out right now. You're not seeing that. If you see that, let me know. Put it in the comments right now. Do a remix to this video that shows there's no contract. Okay? Until then, we still out here grinding, right? We still doing our thing. So tips on how to do this yourself. Let's say you're into real estate and you are not a broker, you're not an agent. So let's say you are. Get into government contracting because it's like, as much work as you do, because I know what y'all do. I was in the industry, okay? Still kind of a little bit now. But you guys work really hard. So if you got to a certain point and you're a real estate agent and you get referrals, great. Then your life is probably a little bit easier. But then even with those referrals, you got to work through with these individual people, even at the residential level and showing them houses and doing all this stuff that may not lead to anything. When you win a government contract, there's one thing that you got to do. Fill out this paperwork. You either win or you don't. You don't have to belabor months and months and weeks of trying to massage this person into buying a property. No disrespect. Again, I was in the industry, but it's a no-brainer. And they want you to do way more. So instead of the onesie twosies, there's hardly no houses that are like under 200,000 almost anywhere in the country right now. But you could get a $2 million, mixed use property and you won the contract, you got the money. It's without question, essentially. So if you're an agent or you're a broker or you're an appraiser, you need to get on this. Like that work is way less work than it would be for you to try to stack up these different properties, these different residential properties. Boom. Let's say you are not an agent or a broker or an appraiser or anything of the sort. Then you will just find someone that does the thing and then you become the paperwork king or queen and you put together the proposal for them and then you work yourself into their contract contract and then live happily ever after. I will say there has to be a significant amount of trust, because anytime that you're putting someone as the prime and you're not written in there officially, like you're just, y'all got an internal handshake, but your name is not listed anywhere on this contract, on this solicitation, make sure that you taking care of home, you're taking care of your relationship with that particular agent or that broker or that appraiser, because they can be awarded the contract you won't even know. Which, you know, again, we're in a marriage. If we're doing work, if we're doing business together, we're in a marriage, and we have to understand that there's going to be a lot of things that don't go right. There's going to be a lot of things that go exceptionally well, and you can't just look at it like, oh my God, this went wrong, and then now you don't want to ever do this again. But think about if you done if you had your own property as a Airbnb or as a landlord, or, you know, you bought and sold properties before, you know, things have gone wrong a lot. So don't try to just hinge it on, you know, this government contracting side as if this is some kind of magical place where things just don't happen. They happen on this side too. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to get into any type of process of this real estate game. So wanted to give you some of that because you guys really love the laundry video, like I said, and I've had so many different types of contracts. I probably just need to do a video about each one of them. But in the interim, I want to make sure that you guys understand the services that I'm offering, because people still ask like, oh my gosh, Sheena, I didn't know that you do this. Oh my God, yeah, I didn't know that you do that. Well, I have a course that teaches you about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. All those things are still going. Contracts are still going, okay? So just do the thing, and don't worry about what other people are talking about unless someone comes to you specifically and says, no, your company can't do this, or you've lost this contract specifically because of you, and all these other things that are happening. Until then, everything is still going, okay? Now, we've just rolled out a subscription service that I am so thrilled about, okay? So one of the biggest things that people have an issue with is writing their proposals, or finding them. Finding and writing. Those are the main things that people say. Finance too, but finding and writing. So we have a subscription service, a 3-tier, because you know 3-tier is my thing. 3-tier subscription service where we can find the opportunities for you, and then you pay monthly. We have our 2nd tier, which is GovCon Pro. So the first one is GovCon Essentials, where we find the proposals for you, or the solicitations for you within your NAICS code, and then you execute. You do your thing, right? Because you ain't got time to find them. Then our mid-tier is where we find the opportunities for you based on 2 NAICS codes, and then we also design the proposal for you. You give us the data, we design it, roll it out, and everyone lives happily ever after. Now, our 3rd and highly recommended tier, of course, is based on 3 NAICS codes. We find the proposals for you. You check them, yay or nay, everything's cool. You have a beautiful Monday board set up where it's tracked, and we identify what you need to do. You identify what you need to do, go or no go. We put the proposal together for you and we send it out. So you're basically like you're dipping in and out with your process, so you don't get overwhelmed by the paperwork. That's what most people get, like I said, paperwork queen. So it's me and a team, and it's just so exciting because this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but because of me not having a team to do specifically that, it's been delayed. But here we are. So that's the 3rd tier where we do the proposals for you, and that is called GovCon Agency Suite, and it's lit. Monthly subscription where you just gonna constantly have proposals being issued out to you. Like, y'all been waiting all this time to do this. You guys say, I'm gonna get to it, and 2-3 years later, you still haven't written anything, you haven't read anything, you haven't executed anything. So you want to continue to have your business going down or not starting, then do what you do. But if you really want to get a jump start on your business, or a jump start on the rest of your life, on your legacy, then you need to buy into my program, buy into the subscription service. Those are your 2 options, because everything else is just talk. Everything else is just everyone saying what they think they're going to do, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do, and then no one's doing anything. It's just a bunch of noise, and I'm sick of it, okay? I'm sick of the noise, because that's all it is noise. And if you're not executing today, like you're watching this video, but you laying in the bed eating bonbons, then you're not going to execute. You need to execute today. And I'm tired of the excuses, and I love y'all, but I'm tired of the excuses. So we're giving you the alley-oop to say, okay, you want to do it. I can see your passion. You're willing to pay. We'll do the contracts for you. We'll do it for you. So here's your alley-oop. Our GovConNOW website is up. I'm going to put it in the description, and I want you guys to win. I always want you guys to win. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox. If you want a self-paced process, of course, my course is still rampant. Still got hundreds of students. I love it. Still do our calls. All that is sweet. The subscription service is something that I think that people can get a jump start on. If you're not really like excited about writing out the proposals, then we got your back for that. But anyway, again, I come off my soapbox for the second time. Anyway, so make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share anything that you want me to talk about in the comments. It really, really helps me with the information that I'm delivering to you all, because I don't really be knowing what's going on sometimes. I know what's going on that I'm supposed to know. I don't know what's going on out here in these GovCon streets. So I leave that up to y'all, and then you just let me know, well, Sheena, what about what they said about blah, blah, blah? I have no problem doing a video about that based on my opinions or based on what I've experienced, what I'm currently doing. And I'm doing a lot. Like, make sure you follow me on LinkedIn, because people are like, oh my gosh, Sheena, I saw you on LinkedIn. It's so funny. Anyway, until next time, y'all, it's your favorite veteran.